This is Monsters on the Mic on the Fan 106.5, giving you exclusive insider access to coaches and players for Duluth's Minnesota Monsters football team. Recorded weekly at Lyric Kitchen Bar in downtown Duluth. Now here's your hosts, Brian Prudhomme and Dave Cook.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lyric Kitchen Bar in Duluth. Time for Monsters on the Mic. It is the Monsters and the Barrels in Duluth. I know the holiday is the 4th, but for football fans, Dave, is this Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook? The holiday might as well be the 5th.
Well, truly, you've had the time to have a hot dog and a burger on Saturday, but Sunday is the day that matters, right? We have football in the afternoon, and things are going to be popping down at the Amsoil.
Now, you and I love football at all levels, but what we've discovered off the mic here at Lyric Kitchen Bar with our first guest, Gunnar Hurlburt, who's going to join us in just a moment, not everybody has to be super passionate or super invested into football at all levels to play it at a good level of their own.
Well, that's crazy because, that's how you'd like to think. Right, but there's so many football guys that are just football guys, right? Bleed it, sleep it. And then there's the athlete that you meet every so often that football's just the game I'm playing now. If it was a Tuesday in August, I'd be swinging a bat. And if it's a Thursday in October, I'm shooting hoops.
And that seems to be the case with Gunnar Hurlburt. Gunnar, I want to start with that question because, again, we were talking before we started recording about football might be your profession, but you were more of a basketball guy, and you're very much into playing the sport, not necessarily observing the sport. That, to me, is unique in its own right. First of all, thank you for being here. And second of all, I'll give you the floor to expand on all that.
Yeah, so I guess just me, my brother, our family in general. I got 3 younger brothers and an older sister. We were constantly outside playing with each other on the court, or eventually got my dad to build us a shed to play outside.
Okay, nice.
I've just been big basketball guy up until I realized how big I was and realized that I wasn't going to be in the NBA, very obviously, when I was about a freshman in high school. And then I started focusing a little bit more on football, but I still played baseball, basketball, track, everything.
So that's a versatile athletic career. It didn't take us very long to discover how big you are, I promise you that. But at the same time, I just have to ask the question, because for a lot of us, it's watching sports. It's becoming invested in sports that makes you want to play it. When you didn't do the first part, what instilled I want to play this, I think I'm going to be good at this?
I guess it was, I had a lot of good coaches throughout my life. And my AAU basketball coach originally actually mentioned to me that he thinks I would be really good at football. And when I was at my AAU tournaments, there was a lot of different scouts and stuff that I would talk to that were like, you should really try playing football. And then I got into it. And
yeah, that message seemed to go over fairly well. One quick question that I have real quick, because you and I are big on basketball and hockey are so similar. I want to know if a basketball passionate guy can take anything he knows about hoops and instill it in football.
So actually, I play offensive line now,
right.
But I actually was a receiver in high school to start out. And then I moved into tight end, and then I've slowly moved my way into the line.
Inwards.
Yes.
So my question was this. When the AAU coaches were telling you, hey, Gunnar, you ever tried football? Did you say to yourself, is this a message? Are they telling me that I should just go along?
Yeah, I guess so, but at the same time, I kind of fought it a little bit and up until I think it was my sophomore year in high school when I really realized I could take it somewhere.
Hit the gym and not the courts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hit the gym, just not the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
He wants a gym with the big metal plates.
Right. But I do want to go with something you said earlier, because you've gotten to showcase it this year. You were a wide receiver. You were a tight end. Now you're an offensive lineman. But you've got those big boy touchdowns. You get to catch the ball a little bit on this team.
Yep. I've continued to grow in size, but I like to tell myself I haven't lost the skill, and I feel like I've been trying to show that the best that I can.
I was going to say, a lot of big guys, when they get a chance to touch the ball, it's like, oh my goodness, I get a chance to touch the ball. But because you've done it, do you get less excited at the concept of they're coming to me here because, hey, I know I can do this now, I get to show it? Or is it still, it's an offensive lineman scoring, this just doesn't happen?
I think it's more of the first thing where it's like I don't get super antsy or anything. I'm more hoping he calls the play more than anything. And then when he does, I get a little bit excited, a little bit nervous at the time, but then once the ball's snapped, it just all goes away.
So let me tell you this, and it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but this team loves to talk about its precise route running. Every wide receiver,
just going to ask that.
Your head coach was a wide receiver. All of them say, I'm the best route runner. I'm this precise with everything that I do. It's the most important thing in this sport. You're an offensive lineman. Most of the time, they don't want to hear any route running advice from you, but you've been there, done that. Have you branched out and said, hey, Jamal Couch, cut this way a little quicker? Have you done any of that?
I've definitely tried.
Nice. I love to hear that.
No, I like to make jokes with the guys just because I am a big guy running the routes out there, but I'm not the greatest when it comes to route running, that's for sure.
That is the first guest on this show not to say he's the best route runner there is.
Which route is yours? Are you a post guy, a flag guy, are you a drag guy, button hook? What's your story?
I think my favorite route is probably the sail route.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, a good seam down the middle doesn't hurt at all.
Very
either.
good.
That's spoken like a guy who played tight end without question.
And an offensive lineman.
Right.
That's what they would say too.
I have to ask you this because we're coming off a bye week, coming off a loss followed by a bye week. Everybody's itchy to play football because it's only once a week. But how itchy were you to get, first of all, the Arsenal game kind of out of your mouth in terms of taste and get back to Monsters football? Because there's two ways to look at it, in my opinion. Number one, lots of time to learn and correct, which is good. But the second part of it is, boy, that loss is festering. What's the attitude been like this week?
It's been good. We've probably had one of the best practice weeks I think we've had all year. I think we've had good competition as well, especially today at practice. It was getting pretty, I wouldn't say heated. It was very energetic, and it was awesome. In my opinion, people were chatting at each other, and that's the sport of football.
That's an Upper Midwest guy because he was very nice about that. People were chatting at each other. Yeah. I don't think that's normally how we disclose that, but that'll work.
Visiting.
Absolutely. So I have to give you the difficult question, and this time it actually is. There were a lot of things that went right early against Michigan, and then nothing went right later in the game. So to flip it, what went wrong in your opinion? The game was lost on the scoreboard literally. Where did that game get a little bit lost for you guys?
In my opinion that I had as soon as the game was over was we definitely shot ourselves in the foot a lot. Especially we had those false starts that led to the extended 10-yard false starts because of how many we actually had. And then also just we had a lot of great guys that just joined the roster recently, and you kind of have to have that little time period to like get that, chemistry down.
Sure. So question becomes this. The bye weeks are done. So you go from having, 12 days to sit on a loss to now you have 3 games in the next, I think, 13 days. Is that good or bad for the body?
For me, being 22, I think I can handle it pretty well. I'm ready to go 10 minutes after the game's over. I'm ready to go for another. But some of the guys, they might need a little bit extra time on the couch, but sure. I'm always ready to go.
Small field, quick players. Offensive line, though, you've got a few things you have to do. You've got to move your feet. What are some of the differences being an offensive lineman in this particular brand of football versus like on grass?
I think it's definitely you got to attack more as an offensive lineman. I feel like you can be a little bit more patient when you're playing on grass or something, but with the smaller field, the quickness of the defensive line and stuff, you have to kind of jump on them right away. And sometimes you have to really change how you play throughout the game once you find out what's going on.
You mentioned playing in the trenches, teams chatting at each other in practice. This team has such a good defensive line. What's practice like for you when you're going against the best of the best?
It's great. It was really awesome just having those guys around, especially since being here since camp. I feel like I've improved immensely as the year's gone on, and the only thing that I can put towards that is the fact that how good our defensive line is and how they can push us in practice.
No doubt. They can push everybody around a little bit. So we always ask about journeys to Duluth, familiarity with Duluth. Your journey is one of the shortest, being a UW Eau Claire guy. You mentioned you enjoyed the city. How much did you know before, and being here from camp, how much do you know now?
Before camp, I knew it was on the lake.
That's most locals only like to say that. Yeah.
After camp, I realized it's very, very nice, very awesome, especially once you get on top of the hill. The hill is a little interesting, and I guarantee it is definitely a lot interesting in winter.
Oh, yeah.
But once you get up there and you get that view, it's pretty awesome.
No question about that. So your view this weekend will be the Kentucky Barrels again. Now, Michigan you got a couple times. They came back here and got you. Kentucky's been here once. In my opinion, maybe the best game this team played. What are you expecting to see different from them? Because not unlike the Arsenal, a little revenge should be on their mind.
I think they're definitely going to try and bring their A game for sure. I think it's tough to really attack a team like we did the first time, a second time, and then also with the Michigan game a third time. It's tough to really just because you have to change your entire game plan almost to because they're already ready for the old one.
Yeah, you can't surprise them, that's for sure.
No doubt about that. So let's talk about blocking a little bit for Javonte Johnson because QB5 or J5 has been QB1 forever, and he can be the best of the best when he's on. Last week against Michigan, he looked good early. Later in the game, he chucked it darn near 50 times. It was a little more flat-footed. Did you feel like protection broke down? Was there something that the defense for Michigan was doing? Or was it just we panicked and had to get back in the game? Because from my point of view up in the press box, the offense looked a little different.
Mm-hmm. I think it definitely attests to what I mentioned earlier about the newer players. With Avonte, he's been throwing to – it seems like there's a new guy every week that he's throwing the ball out there too. So I think a lot of it just has to do with getting that time together like we have this week with our great week of practice we've had so far halfway through. And then getting to know the guys, how they run their routes and stuff. Because once you're throwing to multiple guys every week, it's kind of hard to get used to that.
Dave Cook, now go ahead. Sure, now he's ready.
Right, now he's ready.
Yeah.
What do you know? Once a day. So I guess I was going to ask exactly the same question, just from the opposite style of play. So what's it like run blocking for Shannon Brooks?
It's fun. I've had great players I played with in the past. It's fun to have such an electric player as Shannon. It sucks that he's been dealing with some injuries throughout the weeks, but and then just blocking in arena is pretty fun too because there's a lot of pass style bodies out there.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. I'm sitting between two offensive linemen, so I know you both know the answer, but arena's different. Run blocking or pass blocking? What's better and why, and what's the good and the bad of each?
I'd say I'm pretty equal on both of them. Run blocking, I feel like might slightly get the edge on the fun because I've had a lot of good opportunities this year to really lay some guys out.
Brian, this is the be the hammer, not the nail conversation.
Oh, you forget I've been at every home game. I've seen him in action. He can do this.
Yeah, and then the pass game, I feel like it's fun because you really get to push yourself to be more athletic than somebody who on paper should be more athletic than you all the time.
That's well said. So I have to ask you this because Dave asked about blocking for Shannon. Now, I'm the one wearing a Gopher shirt today, but I could have bet my mortgage she was going to do that. I want to go the other direction because when Shannon hasn't been carrying the ball, Claude Davis has been. What's it like blocking for somebody who could be on the line with you?
Honestly, the only worry I have is, am I the one he's going to truck? Because there's at least one or two guys that are going to get ran over, and I just hope it's not my back.
Yeah, you don't want that picture on the cover next year.
Yeah.
So obviously the focus this week is being much better than the Michigan game. But I mentioned, the next game is July 5th. By July 18th, you will have played 3 times. I know the coach speak is one game at a time, and I'm sure you're going to tell me that anyway. But if you can, look big picture. What's the goal right now? Is it get healthy? Is it prime playoff positioning? Is it 6 in one, half dozen in the other? Are you guys looking ahead? I know you're going to tell me you can't do that, but what's the overall mantra, if you will?
I think the overall goal is to hopefully get us to that 3rd seed for that home playoff game, and then hopefully get us to that championship game.
That's fair. That seems to be the culture every time we talk to these guys. I do want to ask you, though, because even though your journey to Duluth might be shorter and you might be more familiar with the area, I've asked everybody, what do you think of playing in Amsoil? What do you think of the atmosphere? What's it been like the few games at home that we've had? And hopefully we can get even better because, again, at home in terms of regular season, we're here to stay for the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's been awesome. Playing in different arenas, you understand, try and figure out which one's the best one to play in. And Duluth's definitely up there. The Amsoil is great. Our turf it looks cool.
Does it have any padding yet? It looks great.
The padding you can bring to your imagination. But
does that mean you have to imagine it because it's not there?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, that's kind of where I thought you were going.
But yeah, the fans, from getting to meet them with the signing and stuff after the game, it's been awesome.
Well, and that's the other thing because, again, before we started here at Lyric Kitchen Bar tonight, both of you, Sha'ki will be on a little bit later, were telling me about a photo shoot you just got done with. Seems like your off-field calendar is full. You guys have done a lot of things. You get a lot of joy out of that, it seems like. At any rate, what I want to ask you is this, because we started the conversation with, you're unlike most athletes that you don't live, breathe, eat, sleep sports. So I want to know, when you're not on the football field, what is Gunnar Hurlburt doing? What's the leisure? What's the rec life like? What do you enjoy that's not sports?
I guess something I enjoy on like when I'm relaxing would just be like watching TV or like playing a video game with my girlfriend or something. But I went to college for exercise science,
Okay.
so I'm in the gym if I'm not doing an actual sport usually.
He's refining that big body all the time.
Absolutely.
I'm going to end with this. I do have to ask a sports question to close. Best teammate you've played with, guy that you've watched and made you say, wow, whatever level that was. And then toughest guy, same question, you've played against, whatever level it might be.
Probably the best I've played with is honestly Big 99 Torrey Boyd on the inside so far.
Our center gets a lot of love,
Yeah,
man.
he does.
He really, I appreciate how he brought me in as a rookie, and he's taught me most of the things I know on the field so far, and he's a great leader on the field. And then play against, probably, I want to say Shy Hill.
Wow. Teammates on both sides.
Also a name we hear.
I was going to say, a lot of love for Minnesota Monsters. We got plenty of love for Gunnar Hurlburt as well. One of the most intriguing conversations we've had. Round of applause for him. Sha'ki Holines is next. Monsters on the Mic continues. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, back on Monsters on the Mic. Lyric Kitchen Bar is the place to be on Wednesdays when we record this. It airs on Thursday, then on game day. Game day varies a lot with this team. This is Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. Sunday night football this time, Dave.
Yeah, you have to keep a calendar to see when they're playing, but that's the fun part of it, right? You know, you can, if you're a weekday person, you got Monday night football here a while ago. You got Sunday night. You've had Saturdays. The schedule is an interesting one.
It is, and it's a home-laden schedule now because the Monsters did a lot of traveling early, and until the postseason, perhaps they won't travel again. We'll get nice and comfortable here in Duluth.
That's the goal, right? Now, we were talking just a minute ago about how the goal has to be one at a time, but it's to get that home playoff game is the focus right now. The big focus is that.
It would be the easiest way to stay comfortable in Duluth. Speaking of comfort in Duluth, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors. Let's begin with Comfort Systems of Duluth.
Yeah, how about that? We've had some weird weather changes this week, Brian, and Comfort Systems there. I mean, we seem to always talk about how they can take care of your heating systems,
right?
But the last couple days, it's taking care of your cooling systems as well, to make sure that the house isn't getting too humid or too warm.
And I'm the guy that remembers the sponsors. Dave's the guy that experiences the sponsors, because another one is Sanju Two Harbors. You had a lot of experience with them here recently.
Gosh. Yep, and I told him I was going to have this conversation. So, Brian, you've known that I've had experiences with all kinds of car dealers.
Yeah.
And I've had none better than the experience I just had with Sanju purchasing a new car. I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't sure where I wanted to buy it from. Like, that was my deciding factors, where I'm going to buy it. And you and I actually talked, and I said, well, what about Bill up in Sanju? What do you know? And so you got us hooked up together, and it wasn't but 15 minutes before he had the car. He knew what it was. He and my wife were talking deal, and then he said, why don't you just take it home for the night?
There you go.
And I didn't think anything of it, right? And Dana looked at him and said,
and now you think a lot of it.
You're a dirty pool player, is what she said. And I ended up with the car. We had some stuff done to it. They brought it back in. They took care of it. They gave it time. I got it back. It looks like a diamond right now.
Your car looks so nice. It almost looks as good as the D-line for the Minnesota Monsters.
No, it's not that good. Like, it's a good car. It's a great car, but not that good.
So there was no gamble in going to Sanju, but you can do some good gambling sports betting at St. Croix Casino Danbury, the last of our sponsors for Monsters on the Mic.
Yeah, and they have so many really cool things they do every month, and we'll get to know more and more and more about those in July. Coming up. But if you're going to spend some time and money on the games, right, where better than
now,
the
I should have brought
right?
that up when Gunnar was on the show, because I should have praised Wisconsin with the Wisconsinite on the show.
Yeah, and he probably knows where Danbury is. In fact, there's a decent chance he spent a couple of bucks in Danbury.
Yeah, meanwhile, we'll let you know who the chuckle you heard was when I was complimenting the D-line of the Minnesota Monsters. It was none other than Sha'ki Holines, and I want to start with that because we talk a lot about origins. The origin of somebody's football journey, where they're from, how they got here, all things that went into making their football career. But you want to talk about unique names, Sha'ki Holines is probably top of the list for me. Give me the origin of that name, how you've embraced it. I love calling it as your PA announcer. Good to have you here. I appreciate you being here. But Take us through that one. Mom and Dad came up with a good one there.
Well, the name's just unique, I guess. My mom didn't
Very much so.
tell me special place she got it from, but it's definitely a cool name. Have to fix people a lot on how to pronounce it, but
Right. Did I do okay? I am
Yes,
your
sir.
announcer.
Yes,
Nope,
sir.
you're
Gonna
still
say,
getting it wrong, man.
I hope I'm batting maybe not 1,000, but let's go with 750. I don't want to anger anybody of the religious faith, but the Minister of Defense right here, His Holiness, is right to my left.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things you mentioned it, Brian. But I kind of wanted to get your background and where you come from, what the family's like, and tell us a little bit about your football journey.
Background is my dad's Jamaican, so that's what the last name's from.
Okay,
Nice.
My mom's African American. My journey to Duluth is all the way from Massachusetts. Played football there at UMass
Okay.
for 4 years, 4-year starter. 2-time All-Conference. After that, went to the CFL for a bit, spent some time over there. Then after that, played for Orlando Preds. Then went to the Sharks, won a championship there.
Yeah,
Then was in Nashville last season. Now I'm here.
very cool.
So I want to talk about the championship season because I shook your hand today, and the first thing that jumped out at me was the giant rock on your finger. And a lot of us have them. I even have one too. I don't have it on right now, but the former club here in Duluth has a championship ring. There's a lot of guys in this locker room that are touting championship rings. We talk all the time
The
about championship
expectations.
culture.
Yep.
How much does that help, having so many guys that have been there, done that, with all the bling that's in your locker room? Everybody knows what's ahead because the time is now to go get it.
Yes, sure, it definitely helps, especially getting closer to the playoffs. Guys knows how to finish the season, or even when we get to the playoffs, the lights don't get too bright for certain guys. We know we'll be able to win the games if it gets tight late in the fourth, or the moment.
Yep.
The moment just won't be so bright.
I've noticed that for this defense, the moments don't get too bright, as you say. All the leagues, all the teams that you've played for, everything comes with adjustments. AF1, what's the biggest adjustment to your game to fit this league the best way you can?
I would say you got to learn how to shorten up your pass rush a little more, focus more on getting off the ball more than anything. Don't get too much into a battering rim fighting contest with the offensive lineman because it's going to play into his favor because it's so close and there's not much room to work. So I would say the best thing to do is try to time the snap, try to beat them off the line, try to beat them with your hands real quick, get them tired most of all throughout the game.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask. How much of it is trying to guess the snap count correctly? Or, as I look at an offensive lineman right across from us, how many offensive linemen have tells that you're like, I can jump this?
Yeah. Well, the best, I say the best tells would be, if the offense is breaking the huddle late, because now you could just watch the shot clock.
Right.
You know it's 5 seconds until they have to snap
Yeah.
it. So I feel like that's one of the best tells, or just watching film, just noticing.
Wait till they lean back on their heels.
So we were talking with Gunnar earlier about what went wrong offensively when things kind of sputtered in the loss to Michigan. Malik Henry and company got hot as well. What did they do that presented such a challenge for your defense, or what went wrong other than the flag fest that everybody pointed out?
Yeah, I would say we had a couple key offsides as the defensive line. So we definitely would take I can't think of the word right now, but we
Some
definitely
responsibility?
take responsibility
Yeah.
for that for sure. But in the back end, there's a lot of new guys back there. I said we had 2 new starters. Dell's the only returning, so he's back there with some new guys.
Sure.
We putting in new defensive fixes, so everybody's just getting adjusted, and we're just learning to be on the same page.
Right. So it's been a common theme that during the weeks that there was a lot of familiarity that needed to take place quickly. I talked to Gunnar about, man, you lost a game and you had a bye, you got to sit on it forever. Sounds like there was an upside to that because at least you're getting familiar with one another without having to go through the motions of playing a game each time.
Yes, that definitely helped us this bye week. Helped us just get our bodies together, help us relax from being on the road for the first 5 games almost to start the season.
Right.
We finally got to come to Duluth for a week, relax. Everybody got to go see their family. Then we came back. We had some good practices so far. We got back in the film room a lot this week.
So one of the quick questions I have, Brian and I have talked incessantly over the last 8 weeks. And the one thing we talk about is the defensive line of this team. Well, we have somebody who's on the defensive line.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us what you think about your line mates.
Shoot, I think they're all great. Shy Hill, Simley, Claude Davis. I feel like as a group, we're the best. We've been proving it for years. I feel like nobody plays harder than us.
Yeah.
You know who else thinks they're the best? The secondary on this same defense.
That's right. We had that conversation
You
too.
talked to Delvon Randall, you talked to any member of that defense. Pick sixes are there for them, and it's mainly because of you guys.
Yes, sir. I feel like we're yin and yang with it. We help each other out. They help us for sure get some covered sacks, some easy ones. So
That's fair. There's a give and take there. So I was talking to Gunnar about, now we got to settle in for a stretch run that actually happens relatively quick. You guys got a game on the 5th, the 11th, the 18th. My math tells me that's 3 games in basically 2 weeks, 13 days.
yes, sir.
You're both in the trenches. Gunnar said he doesn't mind. He's ready to go 20 minutes after a game ends. You talked about this. Bye helps you get the body right. How does a body prepare for 3 games in basically 2 weeks?
Shoot.
That's the question.
I think he just did the math too. Oh my
I feel like
goodness.
you get the mind right more than anything.
Okay.
The body should fall in line just over the time of just muscle memory and just building the calluses up of just practicing hard. I feel like
So that gives me an easy follow-up question because you said it's harder to get the mind right. I've always been curious because I broadcast games till I can't talk anymore, and sometimes I literally can't. But it's different as a broadcaster and announcer, certainly, than it is, I'm assuming, as a player. How long does it take to dispose of a loss? Players can say, like, I'm over it before I leave the building. In some cases that is true. There are guys out there that aren't over it for days. Where do you fall, and how easy or difficult is that?
it'll probably take me a couple of days, honestly. I wouldn't say I'm gonna just walk out the arena and forget about it. Definitely like last week, I feel like we basically lost it ourselves due to just penalties and mental mistakes. So I got over it probably a couple of days ago, but now it's on to the next week. Try to get this playoff run started.
So when those mistakes happen, how much of that is really about correcting? Is there things that you actually have to work on, or is it just, hey, we lost focus. As long as we stay in the game, we're fine?
I feel like it's more, the offsides thing is just more focus and discipline and just staying locked in throughout the game and just trying not to be so sack happy and just trying to get to the quarterback so much and just understanding the down and distance and stuff.
The next 3 games and being such a short time frame, but it leads to the promised land, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you are focused on the next game, is the next game a thing by itself? I'm only worried about the next game, or are you seeing the next game as the way to get to the promised land? You got 3 of them, you got to win all 3.
Well, I try to go one game at once because I know we got to get these next 3. So I'm trying to just focus on this one, get this one, then get the next one, and then head into the playoffs hot.
Now, that was one of the best explanations of one game at a time. You
Yeah.
could have just said that. We'd have
100%.
gone, it's coach speak again. You actually dressed that up rather nicely. Now, with Gunnar, we talked about a self-proclaimed non-sports fan. What about you? Are you an avid follower? And if you are, of what and what teams?
I'm a huge sports fan. All Boston teams.
Nice.
All Massachusetts teams.
You want to hang out sometime? I get a lot of grief from this guy for being much the same as you.
That's because all of his shirts have a big B on it.
Yeah.
And I give him grief that he has, one of those T-shirts with his name engraved, Brian. But he keeps telling me it's Boston, but I don't
Boston
know.
Red Sox.
Yes. So Fenway Park, how many times have you been, and is it the greatest place you've been?
I've been a couple of times. I actually played my senior night there.
Oh, nice.
In college. Yeah, we played in the Fenway Classic against Maine.
Okay.
So it was actually a nice experience.
So we talked with Gunnar about hoops, and that's more where I'm familiar with UMass. I think most people are. UMass football, the big rival is?
UConn.
Okay. How did those games go?
In college, we didn't actually play against them. We played against our other rivals, Boston College, but they would beat us.
That's fair. I won't bring that up any further. I think I struck a nerve right there.
Yeah, no, BC has some players, and so UConn as well. So
Speaking of BC, I feel like Doug Flutie's sitting between the two of you, but go ahead.
the question that I have for you is, when you're watching football, is there anybody that you've emulated, that you've kind of stolen pieces of their game and put it into yours?
Yeah, of course. I would say Chandler Jones, Jadeveon Clowney, Von Miller, them type of guys. Finesse type, speed guys.
As a Gopher fan, anytime you hit somebody from Michigan and you knock his helmet 14 feet away like Clowney did, I'm on.
I was going to say,
I'm in.
Dave and I became South Carolina fans for at least a minute right there.
Greatest hit of all time.
We talk about internal clocks a lot, and usually with quarterbacks. But you've talked about timing is everything in this league, too. Do you have an internal clock of, I've got till the count of 3, and if I'm not in the lap of the quarterback, I'm not getting there?
Yeah, I do, actually. I would say probably 4 to 5 steps. If you ain't there, it's time to counter or retrace, go chase the ball or something, or get your hands up. But I definitely have an internal clock to just make sure I'm not being lazy in my pass rush, I would say.
That's fair. So you mentioned the number 4. When we talked to Coach Clark early on in the season, he mentioned, my defense gets me 4 stops, we should win. Is it still that mantra? Has something changed? What's Coach Clark, wide receiver guy, like when he's talking to his defense?
I feel like the 4 stops still is the same thing. we'd love to score more on defense, of course, to just help the offense any which way we can. But I feel like as long as we're getting the stops and stuff, we should be fine.
It is that simple sometimes. When I talk about coaches talking to their defense, I want to know what the D coordinator says, because Tony O'Neill, we had him 2 weeks ago. He's never at a loss for words. What's it like getting advice from him, playing for him? Because he's on the sidelines, but I feel like most of his body is out on the field with his defense.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Definitely old school, hard-nosed football coach. Definitely wants you to put your hat, have your hat in there. He wants you to be physical. He wants you running to the ball. Doesn't like the lazy stuff.
I was going to say, if you're not, you won't be on the field, right?
He'll find somebody that will. So one of the we've talked a lot about, and to a lot of guys, about the different levels of the game, and you've played at a lot of different places. But when we're talking about this league, you're smiling a little bit, you're having fun. Mm-hmm. So tell me, of all the levels that you've played in, which one is the most fun, and which particular stop did you like the best?
The most fun I would say is arena, probably, because I feel like you're more engaged with the fans. You get to meet people that actually love the sport. You get to build more of a relationship with everybody around you, more than it being so caught up in it being a business more than anything.
Sure.
All right, so we've learned a lot about Sha'ki Holines. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the Barrels. This team fell victim to the Monsters before. We hope they do again. We'll find out more about them. Tanner, our intern, will join us as well. Round of applause for Sha'ki Holines. He's going to stay right here. Hope he will too. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Monsters on the Mic. Final segment already. Time does fly when you're having fun. We hope the Monsters will have fun against the Barrels come Sunday night at Amsoil Arena. It's the first of 3 consecutive home games to close out the season. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. Dave, I touched on it. I'm still doing the math and grasping it. 3 games in 13 days.
I tell you what, as a fan, that sounds like a lot of fun. As a player, the game is fun, but having them all crammed in, 3 games in 20 days is a lot of football.
Speaking of threes, want to give out 3 thank yous. Lyric Kitchen Bar for having us again for another week. And then, of course, the 3 sponsors. That would be Sanju 2 Harbors and, of course, St. Croix Casino Danbury. We appreciate them taking a gamble on us.
And Comfort Systems
of Duluth. That's why we're so comfortable here each and every week.
Absolutely. Once again, a huge shout-out to Sanju for helping help me get my ride.
Absolutely. It's, in a roundabout way, my ride as well, the amount of time I spend in it. So Dave factors me in when he buys a new car. I appreciate it.
That's actually true.
We appreciate Sanju 2 Harbors. We appreciate Gunnar Hurlburt. We appreciate Sha'ki Holines, and we appreciate our intern, Tanner. He comes locked and loaded. He's got research on the Barrels. Tanner, you got a bit of an advantage because we've seen him one time. The last time we did it went well for the Monsters.
Yeah, last time we went against them, we beat them 69-32. Pretty good game for us.
Absolutely, but that, again, makes me think that revenge is going to be on the mind of the Barrels. You did some research. How do you figure they go about getting that revenge?
I figure they stop. The big problem last time is their quarterback likes to run, right? Our defense is built to stop that. We're the brick wall in front of the offense. So in my mind, they have to stop running and they have to start throwing to get over us.
Okay, so I'm going to go to Sha'ki Holines right away with that little bit of scouting report. You're hearing about a quarterback that's mobile. Now in Arena, most of them are, let's be honest, but a guy that salivates at the idea of running. Do you like that idea, or are you hoping that it's more of a pocket passing game?
I don't mind the scrambling quarterback, honestly, because I know he might take more sacks, honestly, than the pocket quarterback, because the pocket quarterback would just throw it away. Scrambling quarterback will look to make more plays.
Well, and that's what I was going to ask you, because a lot of people talk about, let's get a quarterback off his spot. How do you do with a quarterback that voluntarily doesn't have a spot because he wants to run around back there?
I feel like you try to make him uncomfortable. Try to get upfield quick. You want him to be running around, making bad throws, making errors.
This is where you set your defensive backfield up for a pick or two, is when you get that scrambling quarterback with pressure, eh?
Absolutely. So, Tanner, besides a quarterback, there's lots of weapons on offense. What else do the Barrels offer?
Wide range of things, multiple different things on offense. Their offense has been hot. Besides their quarterback, they have a wide receiver that scored 92 points so far this season. Besides that, they have a decent defense. I'm looking right now at a rushing yard total. Pretty strong.
So it's versatility for Kentucky. When you guys are looking at film this week, is there a particular focus of we got to cut down on their passing game because if they go aerial attack, we're in trouble? Or is it, hey, they actually do like to run the ball. If we lock that down and make them one-dimensional, we're that much better? Or is it yes to all because they're as versatile as Tanner's saying?
I feel like we game plan for all of the above. We try to make sure we're just all set for everything because we don't know how they're going to approach the game when we get to it.
How much difference do you see? Because you have played different teams not very far apart. I mean, we just played Michigan for the third time in, 9 weeks? So you see them quite a bit. But just like you said, we had a lot of different guys out there, so rosters change. That obviously plays a factor, but what are the differences? What are the major differences you've seen when you play a team multiple times?
Honestly, I feel like depends on how you beat them when you first played them.
That's a good point.
They're going to come out the second time definitely firing, especially like playing Michigan 3 times. I feel like it's hard to beat anybody 3 times in anything. Yep. So, and especially having a good quarterback like Malik Henry. So, definitely, we knew they would bring their A game.
Yeah, Malik showed out a little bit. When you talk about the Barrels on defense, I know Gunnar's not on the mic, but he can hear you. What does he have to be prepared for?
For defense now, defense is looking all right at best. When you get in the deep of it, they're nothing compared to our offense.
So has there been talk in the meetings, I guess? I'm stealing this from a defensive player. But is there a belief that there's a vulnerability to put up some points against this team? And Gunnar doesn't have a headset on, but he can nod in agreement if he believes that. And he seems to.
Yes.
So this offense thinks they can be electric again, put up 69 in the first win against Kentucky. But as it usually is, that was helped by the defense again as well.
Yes, sir.
It's really interesting, Brian, when you get into that situation where they've scored so many points. He's right. They're going to come out firing. The thing is, if a team comes out too frothed up right away, if you stop them once or twice, they're going to put their hands up in the air and say, "We can't figure this team out."
I think that segues beautifully into what happened, in my opinion, from the press box at the Michigan game a couple of weeks back. Because again, you had beaten this team twice. Started very well, got up, I believe, 27-14 or something to that effect. And I know I can be guilty of this as a media member and it has no bearing, but if the players do it, we're in big trouble. I kind of took a big sigh of relief and went, well, okay, they're going to roll again. I don't want to say we got overconfident, but do you feel like we got comfortable?
Yeah, just from the results, honestly. Yeah, I could say we definitely probably got comfortable, but I feel like it's all going to change now.
Where do you see yourself in the hierarchy of this league, if you will, because things have opened up a little bit. For a while, it was, well, it's Albany's to lose because they just don't. Well, suddenly they've shown a vulnerability. We know how good Nashville is. They've gotten us a couple times. Kentucky's been the cream of the crop, but they came here and got thwarted, let's be honest. Michigan has rallied in a big way. This league, I know it's cliche to say something is wide open, but I don't have another way to describe it. Does it feel that way?
Yeah, I feel like it's wide open, too. I feel like we have a great chance of taking it, as always. But I feel like anybody could take it in the league, honestly. It's any given night, it's arena football. The ball can just – depends how the ball is bouncing off the net, honestly.
That is a big deal as we're preparing for the Monsters against the Kentucky Barrels. Second time in Duluth. Tanner, more on the Barrels for us?
All right, I got an offensive thing. Their kicker, right? No, it's a tough thing to touch on this league, but this is the only thing we have.
Yes.
50% rate of getting it through the net. Now, not the greatest kicker in the world is blockable, but there is a certain finesse you have to have on defense there. How do you deal with that?
Well, and I think that segues pretty well because you just said it depends on how the ball's bouncing off the net. In one way, I know it's an added bonus that we're all getting used to for those of us that haven't seen AF1 before. But in other ways, it becomes a key part of the game. I mean, we think about, I think it was the Nashville game, the home opener, where their kicker accounted for basically a touchdown himself. That's hard to combat, obviously. Is it a focal point during special teams practices that, hey, the ball's live, or let's get a deuce, or all the above? Or is it just considered, hey, it's going to be window dressing or a bonus? If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't.
No, we definitely harp on getting down there because you never know if the ball's going to hit off the bar and just become a fumble drill, or if the kick returner is going to miss it and you just get free 2 points or a free touchdown.
Well, you think about the win over Kentucky and how much of that was the short field. How many times was the offense starting first and goal at the 5? It does make a difference. Tanner, go ahead.
All right, I got one more thing on my list so far. Come with more, but this is my big one. It's a spear versus the shield, right? Your offense versus defense. Now, I was looking at the film. I know you guys stress looking at film all the time. Their offensive line is able to push. That's how the QB is able to run. He's able to push defense aside. How do you block that, deal with it, get around that, get the sack, or even get the ball?
Well, honestly, we just try to stay in our rush lanes, work together, make sure we communicating after every series, make sure one of us is going underneath, or one of us is keeping contained, just making sure everybody's on the same page, so we're just not letting them run around out there on us.
So I got to ask this because there's been a lot of praise for Shai Hill. There's been a lot of praise for Claude Davis. They both deserve it, obviously. But I got to know because they talk about how many teachable moments they have. What have you learned from those two guys about the game itself, getting after the quarterback, being a professional, keeping your body in shape, all of the above? How have they been mentors for you?
I've learned a lot from them, honestly, just watching the way they practice, seeing them pass rush, just doing drills with them every day, just learning little stuff about how to bend the corner better or how to use your hands better or just using somebody's body weight against them.
I can tell you what I've learned from Claude Davis is I'm not funny because that guy really is compared to everybody else.
Yes.
He says hello and I end up laughing somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works.
Well, Claude's one of those guys that he owns the room, man.
Right.
And when you get the attention, it's attention on you. And so, yeah, it makes everybody smile.
He screams leader for
Yes,
obvious
he
reasons
does.
with the boisterous personality. You mentioned Antonio Simley before as well. He's a different kind of leader. He's very cerebral. He's very much like a coach. What's he like to play with?
Shoot, he's a hard-nosed guy. He's one of them guys that comes to work every day with his lunch pail. He's very quiet, honestly. He doesn't talk much unless he's mad, I feel like. But he's a good guy. He's a great teammate.
When we had him on, he sounded like the head coach. Like he talks coach speech as well as anybody we've had.
I would venture to say he talked coach speak more than the coach did.
I agree. Like you can tell that's what he's going to do.
Right.
What did coach say to us a couple years ago? The roster starts empty on Monday, and you got to earn your spot each week.
So how difficult is that? Because rosters do turn over, but usually you hear about rosters turning over in weeks 1 through 4. We've got 3-4 weeks left before, it's win or go home. Roster turnover, that's tough to combat this time of year.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I guess we get over it, but it's tough.
In terms of roster turnover, what's the more difficult concept of that? Obviously, it's very much performance-based, but some of the difficulty is, frankly, staying healthy. Every time we turn around in this sport, somebody's banged up because the way the game is played kind of lends itself to that.
Yeah, staying healthy is definitely a big part of the game, and that's one of the reasons why you see so much guys in and out on the rosters is just trying to keep the best guys out there for the product while somebody else is down hurt until they get up and get better.
So I'm going to ask a question that could come across as silly, but I think it's legitimate as well. What's the common injury? Is it the simple fact of we see guys bang into the wall, we see guys go over the wall, or is it turf toe because we know what you're playing on? Is it twitching too quickly and an ankle goes and the body doesn't? What's the common injury?
I feel like one of the most common injuries out there is probably falling into that wall, running into the wall, because that's he's undefeated for sure.
Yeah, the wall continues
true.
to be the best defender for just about everybody.
Yeah, I haven't heard it said that way, but that is the obvious truth there. So tell us about your first experience with the wall. Have you and Mr. Wall met face to face during a game?
Not as bad as the receivers.
No, the receivers
going
get
through,
killed.
But
I agree.
I've definitely ran into it a couple times on tackles and stuff, but not as bad as I've seen.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, is that one of the situations where you couldn't be prouder to be a defensive lineman because you couldn't be further from the wall itself?
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how some of the receivers go over
Get
the
up.
wall.
Every time I see it, I'm like, I have no idea.
I know radio's not a visual medium, but I wish they could see the facial expressions when we talk about the wall on these linemen going, I'm nowhere near that and I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And sometimes when you get to the receivers or the cornerbacks, they get this look in their eye like they're looking forward to it, and we're like, come on now.
It looks cool till it isn't. It
Yeah.
looks nice and cushy, and then you hit it one time, kind of like the turf in Amsoil Arena. Tanner, you've got more.
I got a good one for you here. I was wondering, during a game, communication between D-line and O-line, right? Got to have that back and forth. Do you ever notice anything on D-line? Like I know this Kentucky team, they got a good player in Rose and number 5 on the D-line that likes to go for sacks. Highest player in sacks so far in the league I'm seeing. So how do you communicate between D-line and O-line trying to prepare them for what's next?
Well, I feel like during the game, if we see something a defensive lineman is doing a lot or any which way we can help the O-line, we'll tell them. Like if we see a defensive lineman running speed a lot, tell them just jump set them because we would know how to counter that.
So I got to ask this because the offense is communicating with each other when they're pre-snap. You're communicating with each other pre-snap. I'm not down on the field. How loud is it when you got guys on both sides screaming at each other, different directives, what have you?
Shoot, it can get hectic out there, especially if you're at an away game and the crowd's against you.
Well, that's the one thing we haven't asked you about. We asked Gunnar, we've asked most guests about the atmosphere in Duluth, the volume in Duluth, the crowds, what have you. Has that been to your advantage? And what's been the most chaotic road venue you've been at?
I would say playing at Nashville is one of the most chaotic venues this season, definitely. And playing in Duluth is beautiful. I love our field. I love how the stands look. Our fans come out and show out every night. They show a lot of support, even in the community, just walking around.
Yeah, that's cool. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, the weather in Massachusetts and the weather in Duluth is not polar opposites. What's that been like as an adjustment for you?
It ain't been much of an adjustment. I feel like it's the same kind of weather. It snows later on in the year. It's always cold. You get a couple months when it's hot.
Enjoy them, and then
So you said all Boston teams. Of the plethora of Patriots Super Bowl wins, your favorite is?
the one with the helmet catch.
No, that wasn't a win, sir.
What about that play at the goal line?
Now he's just striking nerves. Well, the one at the goal line, the Malcolm Butler one, that's different.
Probably the
28-3.
that one or the Seahawks one, when the Malcolm Butler interception, definitely.
Simplify it for us. What's it going to take, last question of the night, to prevail over the Kentucky Barrels again?
Discipline. Just discipline. Everybody coming to play. And we'll be fine.
With the amount of flags we saw in the last game, I think that's a simple but accurate answer.
Yeah, it can't look like laundry day on the field for sure.
Simple and accurate. That's Sha'ki Holines. Thank you to our intern, Tanner.
Nice job, Tanner.
Thank you to my partner in crime, Dave Cook. Thank you to Lyric Kitchen Bar. Thanks, everybody. That's Monsters on the Mic. Go Monsters. We'll see you Sunday night.